Hi, good morning everybody. The crowd is big. And yesterday we were in Mumbai and it was like in the center and there were like 4 more quadrants like this. So since the number is less than in Mumbai, we expect more energy over here to match it, right? No? Yes. Yes. So just to give you a cue from what the kind of participation in Mumbai was like, we asked them a question. In fact, Mohit, you asked that question, right? That how many of you are self-employed or you are owning SMB businesses? And most of the hands went up over there. So in Delhi, let's see how many are startups or how many are small business owners. Wow, big hand. Fantastic. India's got promise. Absolutely. If about 90% of the participants in both the 2 major cities are, self-employed entrepreneurs, then we are looking at promise. And the news is, the story is, of course, probably all of you probably already know this, digital is the enabler for this story. Like the walk up to, kind of chasing your dreams, fulfilling your dreams, establishing businesses, and, kind of achieving and driving successes, creating the business case, creating the economic stories. It is the small businesses and it is the self-employed people who are, kind of driving it from the front. So that's the overall context in which we are, I'm going to speak over the next, kind of 10-15 minutes and try to give you a perspective on what you are after, what do you want to achieve, what are your similar case, benchmarks to benchmark against, and how and why digital is the enabler for you. So, so first of all, let me just speak a minute or more, a minute or two about the relevance of the SMB as a sector in the Indian economy's context. I don't know how many of you are aware, but it is, it is one of the prime movers of the value chain in the manufacturing sector. It is the single largest as a segment, as a group, as a defined group of MSMEs. It is the single largest employer after the agriculture sector. So the importance and the relevance of the SMBs, the small and medium businesses, and the self-employed entrepreneurs is absolutely without any denial, and it's absolutely starting. The time and the context has come when we start to kind of reckon it, and we start to empower it through various tools, which could be fiscal, policy framework. But most importantly, I think, as we will see from the study also, digital is the most important enabler as it is turning out to be. Not just because it's technology or it's a overused phrase, but because of reasons which are primarily utility driven. So when you start a business, you have many challenges, and you want to knock down those challenges one by one, and therefore you start kind of prioritizing them and seeing that how do you solve for the various challenges that you have as a small business, and invariably you will find that digital is kind of helping you achieve help you solve your problems and do what you want to do effectively. So that's the big picture. 8% of the and this real GDP growth thing. There is a lot of talk in the country about we trying to, and globally as well, that India is the next growth center where our growth should move up from 7 to 8% to about 10% plus. And if that has to happen, then this has to be driven only by the SMBs. That's the only way it's possible. Just to give you a sense of numbers, there are close to about 67 million small businesses in the country. The MSMEs, as they are defined to be, micro, small, and medium enterprises, which on an average have employment of about 2 people per unit. So they employ close to about 130 million people, which is like 1/3 of the workforce. And so that's the overall context. But if you were to benchmark against your global competitors, so you will find that the per capita industrial output of our country is about $4,000 as compared to China, which is our closest competitor. I mean, where we keep talking about make in India versus make in China. It is $17,000, which is like 4 times bigger than that of India. And on the really in the extreme end, the other end of the bandwidth, it's countries like Canada, which is $105,000. So if you are having 1/3 of your people, of your workforce working in a sector which is 1/4 of the output coming from your nearest competing country, then obviously you will be a poorer country, right? If you are 1/4, right? Because your like your agricultural output is about $1,300 per person, which is pretty much the same as the national GDP, because most of the people are working there. That's simpler statistical treatment of data. So if we have to become a rich country, then we have to kind of move this industrial output from $4,000 to a larger number. And again, you will find, and as the data that we gathered from some of the people who are using technologies will corroborate, that digital is the one which pushes productivity up as well. And I think most of you who are here will not find this to be great insight, because you already know it. You are here because you're probably using technology in your businesses, and you're and as we'll see that there are 4 levels of digital engagement. So you could be off there, and I'm sure none of you are offline. How many of you over here in the room who have never used an email? Do I see one single hand, please? We'll give an award. If you see one hand. No? Well, bad luck. Not one single hand which has never used an email. And right so, because you are in Delhi, you are like I saw about 90% of the hands going up as small business owners. So today it's practically impossible, as my friend Mohit was saying, that the driver, the pull is being created by your customers. So if your customers are getting digital, if there is more Facebook, if there is more Twitter, you want to understand the trends and so on and so forth, there's no way you can be offline, because you need to speak to your stakeholders. And customers are your principal and the most important stakeholders, but you also have other stakeholders that you need to speak to. So if your ecosystem is going digital, and with all the push that the Prime Minister is and the new government is giving to adopting digital for removing nodes, opaqueness, making a process more efficient, there's no way that you can be out of this thing. So definitely you are either on your basic digital engagement platform, or you are at the intermediate level, or you are at the advanced level. And I'll leave you for a minute with this particular slide. I know it's the slide is, it's a test of your eyesight as well. So if you can't read it, then you know where you have to go to over the weekend, right? So you have your offline, and you just have a look at it, and in your mind just jog where you are. Are you at the basic level? Are you at the intermediate level? Or are you at the advanced level? Wherever you are, definitely none of you are at the offline level. So you are either the basic, intermediate, or advanced level. In your mind, you should make a resolve that you will steadily climb up the ladder. That's what if I am able to impress upon you by the end of the day that you will make a personal resolve that you will climb up the ladder, then my job is done, both from a professional perspective as well from a national perspective. Because the premise is that the more digital technologies that you use as an enabler, the better off you are in driving your productivity, removing opaqueness, removing the bad nodes from your business processes. And as Mohit was saying, that businesses will get disrupted, right? New models will come up. Let me shock you a bit. Countries are getting disrupted. It's not just businesses. So countries which are, as a nation, which are adopting digital as an enabler, excelling into it, bringing the workforce, to get trained, retrained, and be more digitally agile. The prosperity curve of nations are changing. And I have a shining example I would like to quote of Estonia, a very small country, which was occupied by the Russians for many decades. And then in 1991, when they claimed their freedom, sometime in if I remember correctly, it's 91, when they claimed their freedom, then their entire whole banking system, so on and so forth, it was completely collapsed. And as a nation, they resolved that they will drive prosperity by using digital as a technology. Today, that country has $21,000 to $22,000 as the per capita GDP. That's a brilliant number. Just to give you a sense of comparison, for UK it's about $40,000. And it's a country of about 1.3 million people, which has set up the platinum standard in the global governance system. Perhaps the only country in the world to have the whole electioneering on an online platform, something which India aspires for, or should aspire for at least, considering the amount of resources and the things that we put to it. So, business models are getting disrupted, prosperity curves are changing, and nations are changing their priorities and stuff like that. Why? Because they all reckon the fact that digital is the new enabler. Why? Because essentially two things. It's not that you need to be in a technology business. There is a myth. There is a myth that you need to be digital, or you need to be looking at digital technologies, or you need to be advanced on that curve if you are in a technology business. No. Your business is your business. Your business is essentially, when you are in a business, whatever business you are in, you are providing a product or a service which is supposed to fulfill a demand or a need for which the market is willing to pay. That's business. And those processes, if they ride on a digital platform, yesterday, I had a moment of epiphany in Mumbai, and from my mouth, I said that, let's crowdsource it. Let's not just outsource it, let's crowdsource it. So, break the cost barrier. Do things, collaborate in the cloud, keep reducing the cost barrier, right? So, we have that popular Moore's theory that, costs of technology will keep coming down every few years, right? And we, as the drivers or people as professionals working in the space of technology, we are committed to it. We'll try to, of course, Google leads the way. What can be a better example than Google itself as to how digital creates prosperity? How it shortens the cycle time. Not many years ago, it was a startup, right? Somebody like you, who had a great product, which was going to offer technology as a solution, and then completely changed the way the world learned, the way the world searched, and did whatever it did. And coming back to that point, the two key things that technology does to your business is that it helps you reduce your cycle time, for whatever it may be. Whether it is for product innovation, whether it is for customer service, whatever, whether it's collaboration with your this thing, it really reduces your cycle time and helps you collaborate in real time. These are the two key things that, and of course there are challenges for both the things. You can break it up into different layers and bring it down to different levels. But essentially the two things that it helps you with, it will substantially reduce your cycle time, your time to go to the market, your time to capture the voice of the customer, develop new products, do product innovation, and collaborate with all your stakeholders, be it your investors, be it your the people that you work with, your customers, or whoever they are, your partners. Collaboration and reduction of cycle time are the two key things that digital brings to you. And of course, in the process, it enables you to, prototype, test the prototype on a smaller scale, and then grow big. That's what it does. So you first, you check your hypothesis, you prove your point, you remove the redundancies, you remove the points of, inefficiency and stuff like that, and then you scale up. Once you have, so to speak, nobody can perfect a business model, right? If you could imagine what are the risks of your business model going to be like, then everybody would be in business, right? It will be hard to find employees. So you can never, remove all the, risks and stuff like that. But of course, you can plan for it and you can minimize it. And digital, helps you cut down your risks or cap your risks. So we did a, representative study with about 500 people to respond to, from whom we checked that what exactly does, digital drive for them, and there are two broad categories that you can see in this graph, the B2B and the B2C category, and which cuts across the various verticals, the manufacturing, the agriculture, the wholesale retail, the finance and the banking, and so on and so forth. You can find yourself in one of those. So there was somebody like you whom we did speak to find out as to what their digital adoption curve has been like and what has digital driven for them. So what you are going to see in the next few slides is essentially what digital has done for those businesses. And the starting thing, of course, is that mobile capabilities for employees. Of course, digital helps you drive it, helps you drive the collaboration. More and more people are communicating more effectively. They are managing their finances and their accounts. Yeah, this is a question which I asked in Mumbai yesterday. Let me repeat that question. How many of you like processing payrolls as a process? Has anybody written checks over here to employees as salaries? Come on, don't tell me. I saw so many hands, right, as self-employed people. By the way, India employs, the average per business employment in India is 2 people, so which means essentially the entrepreneur himself and one more person, right? So if you are, if you are one more person in your company, then you should be writing a check, right? Or unless you are using digital and doing the RTGS transfer or the NEFT, as the case may be, right? Nobody, I mean, see, most of the people, most of the accountants and all, they say, okay, payroll processing, 30 years, chalta hai, right? That's a mundane process. Why? Because it's not really adding value, correct? So you want to outsource it. And that's why you say cloud source it, right? Get somebody else to do it for you. It's safe, no problem. So you have more mobile capability for your employees, so your employees are not tagged down to one particular location. They can go here and there. They can, kind of do stuff that they want to be. They could be multitasking without compromising, and they could be doing more. So there could be more productivity being driven. So that curve that you saw, over there, where you were to which point of the cycle where you are at in terms of digital adoption, and then this is the percentage of respondents, who are using digital for different purposes, whether it is for databases and storage, whether it is for marketing, whether it is for customer relationship management, accounting, sales, management, workflow. I'm reading it for the benefit of those who are in the back and can't probably see it. Manufacturing, management, workflow and human resources, internal communication between employees, research and development, external communication with suppliers. So possibly the various business processes that drive your business. Obviously you're using it for all those processes, right? One good way of, kind of planning your digital adoption cycle is to, first identify two sets of processes that you have. The first set of processes are those from where you can expect to get maximum return on the investment that you make. And by the way, the good news is that with cloud, the cost of adopting digital keeps coming down. And therefore, your ROI will keep going up if you are able to identify your processes right. Which are the processes that you need to, kind of bring in on the digital platform. If you get that right, and if you start prioritizing correctly, because the two challenges that you will invariably face when you go about adopting digital, one of the major challenges over there besides the infrastructure part is going to be the culture part. So you might get pushback from your stakeholders, particularly your employees, who sometimes, especially in the Indian context, because as a society we are not really digitally mature as of now, and the employees are coming from the same pool of people which exists in the society, there is an apprehension that are we giving away too much in the cloud, or are we going to be soon redundant? So that's an apprehension. Those are two primary apprehensions that I have seen people have. And the best answer to both those apprehensions are that growth is the biggest, profitable growth. Yeah, never lose sight of that. Profitable growth. Profitable growth is the biggest cure for any kind of risks or perceived risks that employees and the stakeholders can have. So long you can manage a profitable growth and you are growing, you're beating the market with growth. I got really scared speaking to the Google guys. They said that their benchmark for growth is 30% plus. By the way, that's the benchmark for growth for Deloitte as well. Huh? So we know where we are, and that's why we are heavily digitally enabled companies. Because it's not possible to achieve it without it. So prioritize your processes right, have the buy-in of your people, identify those processes which will give you the maximum return on the effort that you make, and definitely go about creating the buy-in by showing the benefit, leading the way. Those are the mantras. Do not do it in a manner which is, boss, let me not tell you. Let me first do it and then I will tell you. You will get pushbacks and you will have difficulties of adoption in your firm, especially if you are a small business. But if you do all that, the next 2-3 slides, I'm going to show you what the party will be like. And this is the party slide. So as you can see on this slide, this is the real, motivation slide. This is one slide, this picture you should take and show it to your employees and you get a pushback. It's very important. So what we are saying over here from the set of, respondents that we had, which was, fairly representative, that companies who are offline are actually seeing contraction in their revenue growth. It's -8%. Which is not very hard to imagine if we were to believe Mohit that customers are the push or the pull for the adoption of digital, right? So if you are not talking to your customer in the same language or the same, if you are not using the same alphabet, then obviously you will lose out on the opportunity to serve those customers, right? So you will have a -8. But those companies, we are in an advanced stage of adopting digital. They are having like 90% plus as compared to this. The total delta is about 47%. Pretty close to 30, right? So 27% advantage. And since all of you are somewhere in the digital adoption curve, you're probably the torch bearers of digital adoption in the Indian SMBs context, right? You have an important role to play. That's your societal responsibility. That you will be the torch bearer, you will drive the cultural change in your vicinity and your neighborhood, and you will try to kind of get more and more people on the pathway to digital adoption. So at the end of the day, a more digitally enabled society is going to benefit everybody, including you, because you live in the same society. So 27% more revenue, more global businesses, because obviously you can talk to different markets, different people in real time and in a collaborative manner. So more global, more competitive, likelihood of innovation 4.5 times more. So you could be probably developing new products, new services, because you are more agile, you are more connected to the market, your stakeholders are collaborating more, and I could just go on. But end of the day, I just want to show this last slide, and then I will hand it over to Taru, who will tell you how you are going to achieve all this. And Google has got a host of solutions for that. It clearly is the leader in this space, right, to help you achieve more prosperity. So this slide, it talks about more employee collaboration, more money to share the wallet from, and therefore a happier company, a happier people, a happier set of people working for you, and a happier society where you're collaborating in real time with less opaque nodes and doing things more efficiently and effectively and being globally competitive. Thank you very much all, and I hope you like you all will resolve to be a real digital cultural ambassador in the country, who are pulling at least 2-3 other SMBs into the ecosystem, the digital ecosystem. Thanks a lot.